And this brings us to the point of story. So it's kind of funny, but it's a recurring theme. It's been in place for many, many years around marketing promotions is the importance of that buzzword of story. And 2026, according to Forbes, is the year storytelling becomes a CMO's most profitable skill. You think would have been 2025's priority or 2024's priority, right? It's going to be a priority whether it's 2026, 2039, or 1999 and before, right? The importance of putting a clear story behind your brand is always going to drive more profit. And to break that story down, you need to be able to understand what your brand's actual narrative is. It's not about your products or services. It's about the pains and the solutions and the story that your customers are experiencing. Because the more that you can show your understanding of your ideal customers' pains and problems, what keeps them up at night, the more that you can show empathy and a clear understanding of what those are for your customers, those who actually buy your product or service, the more that they'll see that you actually have the solution for them. And so they'll show up for you as you show up for them first. And so the importance of story is always going to be the most profitable skill, in my opinion, for CMOs, for marketing teams, for anyone looking to sell a product or service. One thing I found that Forbes was definitely emphasizing is that there needs to be a storytelling director, which should be the hat of the CMO. This is the person who owns the narrative of the company, who owns the strategy, and then the team around them, be that in-house or out of house, can execute on that strategy, who they can implement that story, they can get it out to the world. And so owning that story and directing where it is navigated, where it is shown, how it is leveraged in different ways is going to be the responsibility and should always be the CMO. And then, of course, like I said, it's a collective effort. One thing I found interesting, I'll pull up this example of there's this coffee shop, I believe based out of New York, and they have leaned into narrative-based storytelling. Whether each story is true or not, they are basically making it into a TV show of a narrative of characters that are recurring. So it basically has this well-shot format for Instagram or TikTok first, vertical format, short form, where someone enters the coffee shop and it's a different character just about every time, but they interact with the same recurring about two characters who are behind the coffee desk, so to speak, or the coffee cabinet where they serve coffee. And it's this man and this woman, and they have a certain type of character they're portraying, and the interactions happening, it's cutting between one camera and the next. So it's really not fancy editing or cinematography. It's lockdown camera, and there's just this deadpan interactions. It's meant to play for comedy. It's meant to, of course, promote this coffee shop. And it's also, first and foremost, meant to tell a story about the different types of customers who enter this coffee shop and want to have access to the coffee or just see themselves in the story that is ultimately about them, those who are going to buy from the coffee shop. And I guarantee everyone watching are not living in New York. They can't go and actually buy the product, but the affinity this builds around the brand and the story that's being told is going to create tremendous leverage where when people are in New York, they are going to want to visit this coffee shop because they've lived the story virtually first. So this is just one of many opportunities for what it looks like to not only establish what your unique story is as a company, as a marketing team, but then how can we get it out to the world in a way that's interesting, that's different? That is one example, something episodic. Another one is to tap into your CMO, your CEO, those who are your company leaders, and to get them in front of the camera. But doing so in a way that doesn't feel like just another polished corporate video. They're in a shirt and tie or the right type of blouse. It's so well polished, but something that gets them to guide the content, to basically have a show that is hosted by your leaders in your company, big or small. Because as we see just this massive growth in AI generated content, some content we won't be able to tell whether it's AI generated, others very obvious, be that written, spoken, on video. What's going to become more important is the human storytelling. And people are going to read through the BS lines and see that, hey, this is actually a human producing and creating. And it's not just noise, but looking for a signal through all of the noise of AI mess and slop and content. So big recommendation. Opportunity here for CMOs, marketing teams, is to identify a guide, a spokesperson, not an actor as much as just who your on-screen talent's going to be. It could be you as CMOs, it could be a member of your marketing team. It could be even in-house actors you hire. We've seen that happen with ClickUp, the project management software, who's hired actors who are in-house employees who basically contribute to an SNL style comedy sketch that have a very targeted audience of those in corporate. And it should also be an opportunity to invite your CEO and your company leaders to be the face and voice, but doing so in a way that makes it be more approachable. Again, remove the need to have the perfect film set, the perfect setup to produce this content, and just simply create and improve the format over time. This Forbes article actually hit on a report that Wall Street Journal did. So it's saying that companies are now hiring storytellers with the same decisiveness reserved for hiring media buyers and PR chiefs. The article notes USAA is recruiting its fourth in-house storyteller in under a year, tasking the role with bringing to life scenario situations and opportunities, while a compliance firm is offering up to $274,000 for a head of storytelling. So corporate America is finally learning how luxury brands engage the consumer's passionate pursuit of luxury through narrative storytelling built on the emotional tension the product or a product resolves. So this is definitely an all-out sprint for brands who are seeing the need for storytelling. They're actually hiring in-house to have heads of storytelling exist. Yeah, historically, you could have broken this down directly to the CMOs. As we're saying, the CMO should definitely own the story, but having someone to think and breathe and execute on the story in-house is going to be important. It doesn't mean you can't work with out-of-house partners. Our company at Content Supply does become this out-of-house creative production partner, but what needs to be owned in-house is the story, right? And so big opportunity here. Explore what it looks like for your company, your teams to either hire an in-house storyteller or reimagine what it looks like for an existing team member on your marketing team, ideally led by your CMO, to guide the story for your company.